The massive view screen aboard the Galactic Coalition flagship, Terror's Edge, displayed the blue-green planet below. Commander Gray stood tall, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's lights as he studied Earth with his compound eyes. His antennae twitched with anticipation. Another world to add to the Coalition's ever-growing empire. Status report, he clicked, his mandibles moving in the precise patterns of high command speech. Lieutenant Reed, a smaller insectoid with green markings, approached with a data tablet. Earth's defenses are primitive, Commander. Their most advanced weapons are basic projectile launchers and crude nuclear devices. No energy shields, no plasma weapons, not even basic anti-gravity technology. Commander Gray's inner wings vibrated with amusement. These conquest missions were becoming too easy. The Coalition had subjugated dozens of worlds in the past cycle, and each victory seemed simpler than the last. But something about the humans' behavior puzzled him. "Explain why they haven't responded to our presence," he ordered, gesturing at the planet below. The Coalition fleet had positioned itself clearly visible from Earth's surface, yet there were no signs of panic or chaos. "Unknown, Commander. Their global communication networks continue to function normally. We've intercepted thousands of messages, but..." Lieutenant Reed paused, his antennae drooping slightly. Many seem to be about small furry creatures they keep in their dwellings. Gray clicked in irritation. "Show me the beast containment chamber." The view screen shifted to display a massive reinforced pod in the ship's hold. Inside, frozen in stasis, lay their secret weapon, the Nexus Beast. They had captured it on the Death World Nexus 7, where even the Coalition's best warriors feared to tread. The creature was enormous, with midnight black fur, razor-sharp claws, and teeth that could tear through battle armor. "Perfect," Gray chittered. "No species has ever withstood the terror of a Nexus Beast. Even the warrior clans of the Fire Peaks surrendered when they saw one in action." He turned to his bridge crew, raising his front limbs in the gesture of absolute authority. "Begin the standard conquest protocol. Send the warning message." The message was broadcast worldwide in every human language. "People of Earth, this is Commander Gray of the Galactic Coalition. Your planet has been chosen for integration into our empire. Surrender within one planetary rotation, or face the consequences. We possess weapons beyond your comprehension. Resistance is futile." Gray expected the usual response: panic, emergency broadcasts, desperate military maneuvers. Instead, the humans' response was peculiar. "Commander," Lieutenant Reed called out, his voice carrying tones of confusion. "The humans have replied." "Display it," Gray ordered. The view screen showed a human in formal attire, speaking from what appeared to be a governmental chamber. The human was smiling, which Gray's cultural database indicated could mean either submission or amusement. The message that followed suggested the latter. "Dear Commander Gray, thank you for your interesting proposal. However, we must decline at this time. Also, several of our citizens have asked if you could provide better images of the incomprehensible weapon you mentioned. They think it looks, and I quote, absolutely adorable from the glimpses we've caught on our telescopes." The bridge fell silent. Commander Gray's antennae went rigid with shock. In thousands of cycles of Coalition history, no species had ever responded to the conquest warning with a request for pet photos. "They're either insane or hiding something." Gray clicked rapidly. "Prepare the beast for deployment. We'll show them what adorable really means." As his crew scurried to comply, Gray watched the planet below with growing unease. The humans' reaction defied all known conquest protocols. They should be trembling, not asking for pictures. Perhaps, he thought, they needed a more dramatic demonstration of Coalition power. "Lieutenant," he ordered, "target a remote area for the beast's release. Let's show these humans what they're dealing with." Little did Commander Gray know, but he was about to learn an important lesson about Earth and its inhabitants. Sometimes, the most terrifying thing in the universe isn't what you can fight, it's what you don't understand. And humans, They understood things that no other species in the galaxy had ever quite figured out. The Nexus beast was about to meet its match, though not in the way anyone aboard the Terror's Edge expected. The United Nations Security Council chamber buzzed with unusual energy. On the large screen before them, Commander Gray's warning message played for the third time. The aliens' insectoid features might have been intimidating, if not for what the world's top scientists had spotted in the background of their transmission. General Adams of the Earth Defense Force stood at the podium, trying his best to keep a straight face. Ladies and gentlemen, our telescopes have confirmed it. The alien's secret weapon appears to be. He paused, checking his notes, what looks remarkably like a very large space dog. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The general pulled up an enhanced image taken from Earth's most powerful space telescope. The creature in the alien containment pod had 4 legs, fur, a tail, and a distinct canine-like structure. "Should we be concerned?" asked the British representative, hiding a smile behind her hand. "Well," General Adams replied, "Major Brown from our K9 unit has an interesting suggestion." Major Brown stepped forward. She was a veteran dog trainer who had worked with military and police dogs for 20 years. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as she addressed the council. "The creature they're threatening us with shows all the basic characteristics of a canine predator," she explained. "And if there's one thing humans know how to handle, it's big dogs." She clicked to the next slide, showing various working dogs from military and police forces worldwide. "You can't be suggesting," the French representative began. "That's exactly what I'm suggesting," Major Brown grinned. "We treat their terror weapon like what it basically is, a very big puppy that needs training." The chamber erupted in discussions. The Chinese representative raised her hand. "But what if it's truly dangerous?" Major Brown nodded seriously. "Every animal can be dangerous. But look at our history. We've domesticated wolves into puppies. We've trained lions and tigers in circuses. Bears have been taught to ride bicycles in shows. If this alien beast is anything like our Earth predators, we've got thousands of years of experience handling them." The council members looked at each other. It was crazy enough that it just might work. Meanwhile, in kennels and K9 training facilities worldwide, preparations began. Handlers gathered their largest treats and strongest toys. Veterans who had trained everything from tiny Chihuahuas to massive St. Bernards reviewed their techniques. Some even dug out oversized squeaky toys, just in case. Back in the council chamber, they drafted their response to the aliens. The Secretary General stood to read it aloud before sending. "Dear Commander Gray, thank you for your warning. We have one question before we proceed. Does your incomprehensible weapon prefer beef or chicken treats? Also, we've noticed it may need some grooming. Our professional pet care specialists are standing by. Best regards, Humanity." "Are we sure about this approach?" asked the Russian representative, though he was clearly fighting back laughter. General Adams nodded. "Look at our history. Every major predator on Earth has, at some point, become somebody's pet. Dogs were wolves once. Cats were wild hunters. If these aliens think dropping a big furry creature on us is going to cause panic, they clearly don't know humans very well." Major Brown added, "We've already activated our global network of dog trainers, animal behaviorists, and K9 handlers. Whatever they send down, we'll be ready with treats, toys, and belly rubs." The council voted unanimously to proceed with what they called Operation Good Boy. Around the world, pet stores received unusual government orders for extra-large dog beds, heavy-duty chew toys, and industrial quantities of treats. As they waited for the aliens' response, Major Brown visited various K9 training centers. She watched handlers practicing with their largest dogs, preparing for something bigger. Some had even constructed oversized agility courses, just in case. "Remember," she told her teams, "every dog was once a wolf, every cat was once wild, and every horse once ran free. Whatever they send down, it's just another animal that hasn't met the right humans yet." Little did Commander Gray know, but his fearsome beast was about to encounter something it had never faced before. Humans with thousands of years of experience in turning fierce predators into beloved pets. And they were more than ready to add an alien creature to their long list of domesticated animals. The real question wasn't whether Earth would survive the alien beast. It was how long before someone put a cute collar on it. Commander Gray stared at the human response on his screen, his antennae twitching with rage. Treats. Grooming. This was an insult to the mighty Galactic Coalition. Begin the deployment sequence, he ordered, his voice crackling with anger. Let's see how they handle the beast without their precious treats. The massive containment pod hummed to life in the ship's hold. Inside, the Nexus beast stirred from its stasis sleep. Even the bravest crew members stepped back as its yellow eyes opened. The creature was truly magnificent, standing taller than two humans, with muscle-bound shoulders and claws that could tear through metal. Target location selected. Lieutenant Reed announced. Rural area, minimal population. Perfect for demonstrating the beast's capabilities. The pod's launch sequence began. Through the view screen, Commander Gray watched with satisfaction as it descended toward Earth, leaving a fiery trail across the morning sky. The pod was designed to survive re-entry and land safely, ensuring the beast would emerge at full strength. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The pod struck Earth with a thunderous crash, landing in an open field somewhere in what humans called Montana. Dust and debris scattered in all directions. As the dust settled, the pod's doors began to open automatically. But something was wrong. Commander, Lieutenant Reed clicked nervously. There are humans approaching the landing site. Already? Gray moved closer to the screen. Show me. The surveillance feed revealed several human vehicles racing toward the crash site. They weren't military tanks or weapon carriers as expected. Instead, they were colorful vans marked with strange symbols: Happy Paws Mobile Grooming, Pete's Pet Supply, and Montana K-9 Training Center. What are they doing? Gray demanded. The Nexus beast emerged from its pod, its massive form casting a shadow across the field. It raised its head and let out a bone-chilling roar that could be heard for miles. This was the moment when the humans should run in terror. They didn't. Instead, a human female stepped forward from the group. She held something in her hand and wore what appeared to be a vest full of small pouches. The beast turned toward her, baring its razor-sharp teeth. Those fools. Gray clicked. They're going to get torn apart. The human made a sharp whistling sound. The beast's ears perked up. Then she did something that made every alien on the bridge freeze in disbelief. She held up what looked like a bright red ball. The Nexus beast, terror of a dozen worlds, killer of elite warriors, stopped. Its head tilted to one side. Want the ball? The human called out, her voice clear through the surveillance feed. Who's a good boy? Who wants the ball? The beast's tail moved, not in the aggressive way it did before attacking, but in something that looked suspiciously like wagging. Impossible. Commander Gray slammed his front limb on the console. That creature destroyed an entire platoon of our best warriors. But the impossible continued to unfold. The human threw the ball. The Nexus beast, rather than charging or attacking, bounded after it like an oversized puppy. When it returned with the ball, other humans approached, offering what appeared to be enormous meat treats and something that made squeaking noises. Commander, Lieutenant Reed reported, his voice shaking. Similar scenes are being reported at our other beast deployment sites. The humans. They're petting them. The surveillance feed showed more humans arriving. Some carried giant brushes. Others had massive rope toys. One group was setting up what looked like an oversized obstacle course. The Nexus beast, now lying on its back receiving belly rubs from 3 different humans, looked nothing like the terrifying creature that had struck fear into the hearts of hardened warriors. Its tongue lolled out of its mouth as someone scratched behind its ears, and its tail thumped happily against the ground. This is unprecedented, a science officer noted. No species has ever approached a Nexus beast without weapons. No species has ever tried to play with one. Commander Gray watched in stunned silence as the scene below continued to unfold. The beast that was supposed to be their ultimate weapon was now chasing a frisbee across the field, followed by cheering humans with treat bags. Should we deploy more beasts? Lieutenant Reed asked uncertainly. Gray's antennae drooped. No, he clicked quietly. I have a feeling we know how that would end too. Somewhere on Earth, the human was probably already ordering a custom-made collar for their new alien pet. The United Nations Emergency Response Center buzzed with activity, but not the kind anyone had expected. Instead of casualty reports and evacuation plans, they were receiving a very different type of update from around the world. Australia reporting in, announced a communications officer, trying to maintain his professional composure. They've taught their Nexus beast to play fetch with a boomerang. It's coming back twice. Major Brown watched the live feeds with growing satisfaction. On one screen, the Montana beast was completing an agility course, its massive form surprisingly graceful as it weaved through oversized poles and jumped through hoops. The crowd cheered every time it succeeded, rewarding it with treats the size of dinner plates. Update from Japan. Another officer called out. They've already made their beast an Instagram account. 10 million followers in 3 hours. The major pulled up more feeds on the main screen. In Russia, their Nexus beast was playing in the snow, rolling around like a puppy seeing its first winter. In Brazil, one had learned to play soccer, though they kept having to replace the balls it accidentally popped. The Indian team had somehow taught theirs to sit and offer its paw for a handshake, though the paw was bigger than the trainer's entire body. Ma'am, a young officer approached with a tablet. You might want to see this. It's from the British team. The video showed their Nexus beast wearing what appeared to be a custom-made bowtie, sitting properly for afternoon tea. Someone had placed a comically large teacup in front of it. Meanwhile, aboard the Terror's Edge, Commander Gray was having the worst day of his military career. His bridge crew watched in horror as their ultimate weapons were being turned into oversized pets all across the planet. Report from the African deployment. Lieutenant Reed clicked miserably. The beast has joined a lion pride. They're grooming each other. Gray's antennae drooped even further as more images flooded their screens. In Canada, a Nexus beast was helping pull sleds through the snow, seeming to enjoy the work. The French had somehow taught theirs to sit outside caves, where it would politely accept croissants from delighted patrons. Sir, a science officer interrupted. We've intercepted some human communications you need to see. The screen filled with images from something called social media. Humans worldwide were posting pictures of their own pets next to news footage of the Nexus beasts. The trending hashtag was #SpaceDogsWelcome. One post showed a tiny Earth creature called a Chihuahua barking fearlessly at a Nexus beast. Another showed a comparison between the beast's behavior and something called golden retrievers. The similarities were disturbingly accurate. Commander, Lieutenant Reed approached cautiously. The humans are requesting a meeting. A surrender negotiation. Gray asked hopefully. No, sir. They want to teach us about proper pet care and responsible ownership. Back on Earth, Major Brown was reviewing the preliminary training reports. Every single Nexus beast had responded positively to basic dog training techniques. Some were learning faster than others. The one in Germany had already mastered 12 commands, while the Australian beast was still easily distracted by kangaroos. Major, one of her handlers called out, "You've got to see this." The Montana beast had discovered belly rubs. The massive creature lay on its back, all 4 legs in the air, making happy rumbling sounds as a team of handlers scratched its stomach. Its tail thumped against the ground with enough force to register on local seismic monitors. Send that footage to the alien ship, Major Brown ordered with a smile. Let's show them what their ultimate weapon really thinks of us. The aliens received the transmission shortly after. Commander Gray watched in disbelief as more reports came in. The Chinese team had taught their beast to bow politely before meals. In Mexico, one had become an honorary member of a search and rescue team. The Italian beast had developed a fondness for pizza and afternoon naps in the sun. South Korea reported their beast was learning to dance to K-pop. As Gray stared at the screens, Lieutenant Reed cleared his throat nervously. "Sir, the humans are sending up another message." The message appeared on screen. "Thanks for the space puppies. By the way, we noticed some of them have minor dental issues and need their shots updated. Would you like to schedule a vet appointment? We know an excellent exotic pet specialist." Commander Gray's translator took a moment to explain what a vet was. When it did, his antennae wilted completely. The invasion wasn't just failing. It was turning into an interplanetary pet adoption program. A week after the failed invasion, the United Nations hosted an unprecedented cultural exchange meeting. Commander Gray found himself sitting in a conference room, surrounded by human experts in animal behavior. His crew had insisted he wear the ceremonial armor, but somehow it felt less impressive when a small Earth creature called a cat was sleeping on his lap. As you can see, Dr. Wilson, a leading xenobiologist, clicked through her presentation. Humans have a unique history with predator species. The screen showed images that made Gray's compound eyes widen. Humans keeping lions as pets in ancient Egypt, wolves evolving into hundreds of dog breeds, people swimming with massive creatures called orcas. But they're predators. Gray clicked, trying not to disturb the purring cat. How do you not see them as threats? Major Brown stepped forward, holding a leash attached to a large German shepherd. "Commander, would you like to meet one of our dangerous Earth predators?" Gray's antennae twitched nervously, but his diplomatic training prevented him from refusing. The dog approached, sat perfectly at Major Brown's command, and offered its paw to the alien commander. "This is Max," she explained. "His ancestors were wolves, one of Earth's apex predators. Now he works with our police, finds lost people, and loves belly rubs." Meanwhile, across the globe, the Nexus beasts were becoming local celebrities. The news feeds displayed on the conference room's side screens told the story. In South Africa, a Nexus beast had joined an anti-poaching unit, using its incredible sense of smell to track wildlife traffickers. The poachers had promptly surrendered when they saw what was chasing them, not out of fear, but because the beast had given them puppy eyes. The Japanese beast had mastered the art of bowing to greet people and had its own line of kawaii merchandise. Plush toys of gentle giant San were selling out worldwide. But these creatures destroyed entire armies on other worlds. Gray protested, absent-mindedly scratching the cat's ears. Dr. Wilson smiled. "Did those armies try playing fetch first?" The screen showed more footage. In Australia, their Nexus beast was helping lifeguards patrol beaches. In Canada, one had become an avalanche rescue specialist. The Russian beast had discovered snow and was now teaching smaller dogs how to make snow angels. "You see, Commander," Dr. Wilson continued, "humans have a special talent. We don't just tame predators. We form bonds with them. We understand that every animal, no matter how fierce, responds to kindness." As if to prove her point, the conference room door opened, and in walked Mr. Peters, the Montana rancher who had first thrown that fateful red ball. Behind him, wearing a custom-made collar with Buddy engraved on it, trotted the very first Nexus beast they had deployed. Gray's security detail reached for their weapons, but stopped when they saw the scene unfold. The massive creature, once their most feared weapon, bounded over to Major Brown's German shepherd and play-bowed, tail wagging like an oversized puppy. "Buddy here has been helping round up stray cattle," Mr. Peters explained proudly. "Never seen a better herding dog, though we did have to special order his treats." The cat in Gray's lap stretched, jumped down, and walked right up to Buddy. The enormous beast, which could have swallowed the cat in one bite, gently lowered its head to receive a friendly head bump from the tiny feline. "Impossible. whispered Lieutenant Reed, who had been quietly documenting everything. Dr. Wilson pulled up one final slide. "Commander, we'd like to propose something unprecedented. Earth would be honored to help establish an interstellar pet adoption program. We have thousands of years of experience in animal care, training, and companionship." Gray watched as Buddy rolled over for belly rubs from both Mr. Peters and the German Shepherd. The cat had now climbed onto the beast's stomach and was making itself comfortable. Additionally, Major Brown added with a smile, "We've noticed your ship's life support systems seem perfect for keeping dogs. Have you ever considered having a pet of your own, Commander?" Before Gray could answer, Max the German Shepherd placed his head on the alien's knee, looking up with hopeful eyes. The cat, not to be outdone, returned to Gray's lap. The mighty commander of the Galactic Coalition's invasion fleet found himself doing something he'd never done before, smiling, or at least the insectoid equivalent. The humans had defeated them not with weapons, but with treats and belly rubs. And somehow, that made perfect sense. The Galactic Coalition's High Command chamber had never been so informal. On the massive display screen, Earth's representatives were sharing what they called a history of human-animal bonds presentation. Commander Gray stood before his superiors, trying to explain why their invasion had turned into an interspecies pet adoption program. "As you can see," he clicked nervously, pointing to the screen where a human child was hugging a large Earth predator called a tiger. "Humans have a unique ability to form bonds with dangerous creatures." The High Command members watched in stunned silence as the presentation continued. Humans swimming with sharks, rehabilitating injured bears, teaching gorillas sign language, and turning wolves into creatures called pugs. "Impossible," declared High Commander Vex. "Show us proof of their current interactions with our beasts." Gray nodded to Lieutenant Reed, who brought up the live feeds from Earth. The chamber erupted in chittering gasps. In New York, a Nexus beast was helping construction workers by carrying heavy beams, wagging its tail every time someone said "good job." In Tokyo, another was starring in a television show about a giant space dog helping schoolchildren learn about friendship. The Australian beast had learned to surf. But the most remarkable development, Gray continued, bringing up new footage, is how they've helped us understand the Nexus beasts themselves. Dr. Wilson appeared on screen, standing next to a holographic display of Nexus beast biology. "We've discovered these creatures are actually pack animals," she explained. "Their aggressive behavior on other worlds wasn't natural. It was a stress response to isolation and fear." The footage shifted to show Nexus beasts playing together in a specially built park in Montana. They worked in teams, showed clear social hierarchies, and displayed complex problem-solving abilities when treated with kindness instead of fear. On their homeworld, Dr. Wilson continued, they likely lived in family groups. The ones you captured were probably just scared and lonely. High Commander Vex's antennae twitched in disbelief. And the humans discovered this how? "They gave them squeaky toys," Gray replied, trying to maintain his military bearing. "And bacon treats." The chamber filled with confused clicking as Gray played more footage. The High Command watched as humans demonstrated their various deadly Earth predators. Police dogs performing complex tasks, rescue cats finding survivors in disasters, horses working as therapy animals, and dolphins helping with ocean research. "Humans don't just tame animals," Gray explained. "They form partnerships with them. They understand them. And now," he hesitated, then straightened his posture, "they're offering to teach us." The screen showed scenes from the new Interstellar Animal Behavior Center in Montana. Human experts were already training alien diplomats in the basics of animal care. One scene showed a junior coalition officer learning to throw a frisbee for a very excited Nexus beast. Their knowledge could revolutionize how we interact with creatures across the galaxy. Gray continued, "Already, they've helped us understand 17 previously untamable species. The evidence was undeniable. Footage showed peaceful interactions with creatures that had been considered monsters throughout the galaxy, All it had taken was a species crazy enough to try giving them belly rubs first. "There's more," Lieutenant Reed added, bringing up new data. "The humans have been studying the genetic history of their own companion animals. They believe they can help us develop similar relationships with species on other worlds." The presentation concluded with a scene that made even the sternest High Command members' mandibles drop. A group of coalition scientists playing fetch with their newly adopted Earth dogs, while Nexus beasts watched and copied the game. "So," Gray concluded, "I propose we formally recognize Earth, not as a conquest target, but as the galaxy's leading authority on interspecies companionship." High Commander Vex was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he asked, "And what do the humans want in return?" Gray's antennae wiggled slightly. "They have requested access to our database of alien creatures. Apparently, they want to, and I quote, pet all the space dogs." The chamber erupted in confused discussion. How had their most feared weapons become part of the galaxy's first interstellar pet adoption program? How had their invasion force been defeated by squeaky toys and treat bags? But as they watched more footage of happy Nexus beasts playing with their human friends, one thing became clear: the human superpower wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their ability to make friends with absolutely anything. 6 months after the failed invasion, Commander Gray stood in his personal quarters aboard the Terror's Edge, adjusting to a sight he never thought he'd see: a small, golden-furred Earth creature wagging its tail at him. "Come here, killer," he clicked softly, using the name he'd chosen to maintain some semblance of his warrior dignity. The golden retriever puppy bounded over, tail wagging so hard its whole body wiggled. The mighty alien commander, once feared across several star systems, reached down with his armored limb to scratch behind the puppy's ears. A report screen blinked nearby, showing the latest updates from the Interstellar Pet Adoption Program, IPAP. The changes across the galaxy had been remarkable. The Coalition's fearsome reputation had transformed entirely. Now, their ships were known for carrying expert animal behaviorists and state-of-the-art pet care facilities. His personal screen lit up with a video call from Earth. Major Brown appeared, sitting in her office at the IPAP headquarters. Behind her, a Nexus beast was carefully helping to file papers by carrying folders in its gentle mouth. "Commander Gray, how's little killer doing with his training?" Gray's antennae wiggled proudly. "He has mastered sit and stay, though he still struggles with 'don't eat the ship's maintenance drones.'" The Major laughed. "That's puppies for you. By the way, you'll be pleased to know that the Nexus Beast Rehabilitation Program is a complete success. All 57 have been successfully adopted or placed in wildlife sanctuaries." The screen split to show various updates. The first Nexus Beast, Buddy, had helped train a new generation of space animal specialists. In Australia, their surfing beast had inspired a whole new sport called cosmic wave riding. The Japanese beast's social media following had grown so large it was now an official UN peace ambassador. "But here's the really exciting news," Major Brown continued. "Remember those untamable crystal wolves from Proxima b?" Gray's antennae stiffened. The crystal wolves had been considered the galaxy's most dangerous predators, even worse than Nexus beasts. What about them? The screen showed a human-animal trainer surrounded by what looked like wolves made of living crystal. They were playing fetch with glowing rocks. "Turns out they just really like shiny things and belly rubs." Major Brown grinned. "We've already placed 10 in our special needs adoption program." Killer the puppy barked at the screen, drawing a happy rumble from the Nexus beast in Major Brown's office. Gray watched in amazement as his fierce Earth predator rolled over, asking for belly rubs from both him and his lieutenant who had just entered. "Commander," Lieutenant Reed clicked respectfully, trying to maintain his professional demeanor while scratching Killer's stomach. "The new coalition guidelines have been approved." Gray picked up his datapad and read the official update. 1. All coalition ships must now have at least one certified pet care specialist. 2. Mandatory, try treats first protocol before declaring any species hostile. 3. Earth's animal behavior experts to be consulted on all new species encounters. 4. Monthly interstellar pet adoption fairs to be held in neutral space. 5. Galaxy-wide ban on using any sentient creatures as weapons. The last item made Gray look at his puppy thoughtfully. 6 months ago, he had commanded the most feared invasion fleet in the Coalition. Now he spent his evenings playing fetch and had treats in every pocket of his battle armor. Oh, one more thing, Major Brown added. The Earth Council has approved your request. You can bring Killer to next month's Interstellar Pet Parade, though they ask that you reconsider having him wear battle armor with tiny plasma cannons. The plasma cannons are non-functional. Gray protested. They're just for show. Major Brown laughed again. I know, but maybe stick with the regular collar and bow tie we sent. As the call ended, Gray looked around his quarters. Where once there had been weapon displays, now there were dog toys. His fearsome command chair had a cushion shaped like a bone, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Come on, Killer, he clicked, picking up a squeaky toy shaped like a small Coalition battleship. Time for your evening walk in the ship's garden deck. As they walked through the corridors, other crew members nodded respectfully, many now with their own Earth pets. The Terror's Edge, once the galaxy's most feared warship, had become its first pet-friendly space vessel. The invasion had failed spectacularly, but in its place, something far more impressive had emerged. A galaxy learning that sometimes the greatest power isn't in weapons or war, but in a simple act of kindness and a well-timed belly rub. And somewhere on Earth, a Nexus beast was teaching its puppy friends how to play cosmic fetch.